I'd like to thank you all for having me here today. Congratulations to all our graduates, all my peers, friends, and everybody else that made it out today. My name is Ryan Romano. I'm a 21-year-old recent graduate of the bachelor's program at SAE Institute and proud owner of a home recording studio endeavor that I've called RyAudio. I'm a mix engineer and rock and alternative producer with a skill set studied from SAE and Soundscape Studios in Detroit, Michigan, as well as an international touring keyboardist, namely backing Grammy-nominated artist Andara. That is to say, I produce records informed by the live music experience with real players out of my home studio. The greatest value that I find myself providing to my artist and band clients is my mental repertoire of musicians, engineers, and entrepreneurs like myself that I've built in my 3 years thus far in Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up playing live music and learning production in a way that shaped me into something that I didn't even realize at first, which I'd like to ask the room about. Amidst all of your engineering and music endeavors, how many of you would consider yourselves to be artists? Raise your hand. Look at that. Keep your hands up. Now look around the room. That's also what a room full of entrepreneurs looks like. I'd like to talk today about treading the line between artistry and entrepreneurship. In our time here at SAE, we've learned signal flow, gain staging, mic placement, and even phase alignment. But how many of us feel confident that we can get the session in the first place? What does it mean to get clients and furthermore to keep them? And how do some of our peers make themselves look like they know what they're doing outside of the school? These are all questions that have run through my mind as I've been preparing to lean into my freelance audio engineering and musicianship full throttle post-graduation. Being in Nashville is a massively connected, often cutthroat industry full of people trying to do the thing. As we all expand our own networks with our peers, often being carbon copies ourselves of our peers, we learn over time to trust the network. How many of you in this room have heard before that Nashville is a 10-year town? There you go. Me too. As much as my folks miss me back home north of Detroit, I'm happy to call Nashville home now. It's home to my ever-growing music network, which I predicate intentionally blending my two primary skill sets as a mix engineer and a hireable keyboardist, which has already given me faith that I will succeed in this city, just like all of you in this room with the right frame of mind. My home studio business, out of my place in Nashville, is a personal studio prepped for recording, mixing, post-production, and other audio works designed for professional, revised results. I take pride in how fulfilling my job is because every artist and musician that I invite to record with me in my studio becomes part of a business that is entirely mine and is so much more fulfilling in this way. Outside of building a studio's typical microphone, instrument, and gear collection, I also find myself handling production coordination, assembling players, and scheduling each step of the process with the artists. It becomes a very personal workspace, one where forming strong bonds between myself and my clients is not only inevitable, but crucial to produce great records. One of my proudest and most fulfilling productions I've executed as a student is a group of songs I produced for local rock band Leo Duke and the Northwind. Now this is important. I became acquainted with frontman Leo Duke as an engineer because I was formerly the keyboardist in another 80s arena rock style band, playing similar circuits that Leo was aiming for with his band. I bring that up because I believe I ended up connecting with him and producing that record, getting the gig, so to speak, because I always present myself as an entrepreneur and have become much more deliberate to make my whole skill set known to new connections. I now trust the network because Leo Duke has pushed many other artist and band friends to my studio to record with me, including just this week, an artist named Pete's Diary, an up-and-coming, inspiring blues and rock guitarist with a massive online fan base. I trust the network because Shannon Wilk, the bassist in Leo's band, is the connection and now friend that invited me as a keyboardist to join her on tour behind Grammy-nominated artist Andara, the most fulfilling step in my career thus far. Happy to say I've pulled this off with the grace of my educators here at SAE to take a leave and go on multiple tours at this point around the world behind Andara, whilst continuing my studies from the road. So to my instructors, thank you for letting me still take home my degree today, I hope, whilst I ditch class to go tour the world and play piano. Thank you. My time here at SAE has been fulfilled with connections with many of you that I hope to maintain outside of our place of learning as well. I've had instructors that turn out to feel much more like encouraging collaborators in my business that push me to chase my goals. The greatest of instructors here at the school are the ones that find time around a strategic curriculum taught in our great studios at our school and on great equipment to hone our skills, to simply talk about the industry, to fill gaps in our knowledge of how truly unique this industry is. to understand the flow of cash, to understand the value of trading favors, to understand how to view being an audio engineer in Nashville as less of a job title and more of a lifestyle. I'm proud to now participate in that lifestyle myself, and a strong group of peers and mentors we see regularly help sustain this lifestyle. In my experience, people I meet have been more interested in my full skill set so long as I present it briefly. I introduce myself today simply as a mix engineer and touring keyboardist. That's 5 words to instantly paint a picture of me as an entrepreneur. Both of these roles have artistic foundations, of course, but that art is given legitimacy and longevity by the people that we get to connect and work with monetary and personal fulfillment in mind to create more art. Many of the individual moving pieces in producing a great record, for instance, are the session players, the artist, the writer, the engineer, the producer, not to mention any marketing or label producers, anything else involved on a label scale to a certain degree. Somehow, this city finds an ever-changing way to create standards of these roles for people to get paid, often by each other. It's a tightly knit community here, but who's to say that that system isn't working perfectly when Nashville is the music capital of the world? Even amidst honing the right approach to conversation, it's important to remember that every industry is just people. To me, a relationship is just any kind of sum of conversations and expressed emotions, client relations especially. The biggest element of emotional connection that I've learned about producing an artist's song is trust. Singer-songwriters, in my experience, are often extremely hesitant to trust a producer to execute their brainchild perfectly in their eyes. You often have to take care of these people and their works because this industry elicits the most vulnerable parts of who we are. Over my time studying audio in Michigan before moving here to Nashville, I had doubts about chasing something that only took shape over time from such a young age. I've spoken a lot today about how I aim to present myself. The truth is, I've had the same frame of mind on presentation for years. This was much more cloudy earlier in my career, though. When I was 16 years old, I competed on American Idol as an artist myself and got hit with rejection on national television that could have easily thrown my train off the tracks. But it didn't. My presentation was still exactly the same. That was just a step along the way. As important as something like playing music for 14 million viewers on ABC Network can be, I've always been deliberate to talk about my time on American Idol as more of a side quest, because the opportunities that I create for myself, like my studio, like my touring work, feel so much more grand to me. In a strange way, I'm glad that time keeps moving on, since I feel that a lot of connections I began to make at 14, 15, and 16 years old as an aspiring engineer and keyboardist were not all people that knew how to work with me at my age. I think it's easier to take me seriously as time goes on, and I'm older now. I'm the same with the skills that I spent learning when I was a teenager. What's more is that I can connect with all of my peers here today more than any local community I've ever been a part of anywhere else in my life, since everybody here is here because there's an inherent value in surrounding yourself with people of similar, sometimes ludicrous seeming ambitions to the outside world. But you all get it. Now, the songwriter is at the root of this whole industry, and it's what the city is built on. Built, meaning that despite any amount of AI regurgitated nonsense, there will always be a need for people like us to support the artist, or even be the artist, and say what the world needs to hear to get the right people together to make it heard. My name is Ryan Romano, and I'm a proud mix engineer, touring keyboardist, and now graduate of SAE Institute. Thank you so much.